Welcome everyone, my name's Brett Bonser. I'm Executive Director here at Math Marketing, but also proudly a Miller Heiman trainer. I've been invited to have a discussion with you today around the alignment of the customer's buying process and selling process, and to provide some clarity around some of the terminology that is relative to those two parallel journeys. Now, for those of you that have attended strategic selling, the notion of the sales funnel will be common to you. And indeed, within the sales funnel, there are a number of different selling stages that we are tracking in order for us to determine at any point in time, have we got enough opportunities in our sales pipeline to achieve the revenue objectives of our business. Let's spend a moment and recap on those selling stages. Now, in strategic selling, we're tracking a number of stages in our selling process. We're targeting organisations that we feel might meet our ideal client profile. We're attempting to qualify them and determine whether they're worthy of selling investment. We're then engaging buying influencers to actually cover them off from both a wins and results perspective. Our activity then is around putting a proposal on the table that meets the wins and results of those buying influencers, and then ultimately we're trying to use our best action commitments to minimise red flags and leverage our strengths to actually close those proposals and earn revenue for our organisations and create value for our clients. And then once delivered, continue to repeat the process through the journey. Now let's move to the customer's buying process. For those of you that have attended Miller Heiman's Conceptual Selling, you'll remember this model, the joint venture sales model. And indeed, in Conceptual Selling, we reference the J.P. Guilford decision-making process, where Guilford talked about individuals, when they make complex buying decisions, going through three quite distinct stages. A cognitive stage, where they're trying to get clarity around what it is that they're trying to fix, accomplish or avoid. A divergent thinking stage, where they're trying to get clarity around their gap. And a convergent thinking stage, where the individual is trying to get clarity around best fit to that gap. And indeed, if we think about that in the context of organisations making complex buying decisions, the reality is that each one of the buying influencers is going through that series of decisions in the buying process to determine, in their view, as buying influence, what best suits the requirements of that particular organisation. Now, in Math Marketing's funnel logic, we build upon the concepts developed in both conceptual selling and strategic selling with a focus on the customer's buying journey. Okay, let's bring these two methodologies together. The sales process, as captured during strategic selling and articulated in the Miller Heiman sales funnel, and the customer's buying journey as defined in Math Marketing's funnel logic and captured in their buyer progression model. Now, in Miller Heiman, we talk about a number of different activities and a number of different stages. At the top of the funnel, we refer to being in the universe. And when we're in the universe, we're absolutely targeting prospects to try and flush out those that might match a good profile for us. In terms of the customer's buying process, they are attempting to position various vendors in the category, and they're also looking at those activities, those new processes that might represent interest to them or their business. We refer to that as interest established. From a sales perspective, we're trying to move from above the funnel into the funnel, and the selling action that we're taking is a qualification process does this buyer have enough of a pain, enough gap to warrant our further investment? Now the buyer is going through a parallel journey and they are looking at their own gap. We refer to this as gap acknowledged. Is the gap worthy enough from the buyer? Is it a big enough issue that they're trying to fix, accomplish or avoid to want to move through the next stage? In Heiman, we move from being qualification above the funnel into the funnel. Now this is where strategic selling really gets interesting, where we're covering off all of those buying influences and making sure we're hitting both their wins and their results. Now at Math Marketing, when we talk about the buying process and funnel logic, what is the buyer doing? Well, at this stage, they're looking at defining their needs, looking at those things that they need to put in place to close that gap and achieve the outcomes that they're after. During the next stage of the Heiman funnel, we are looking then at putting a proposal on the table and making sure that that proposal meets that need. And likewise, the buyer is again doing the same thing. They are looking at proposals from the various alternatives and they're evaluating them against those requirements. Moving to the next stage of the selling process, in Heiman we move from proposal into our closing activities, and we refer to this as best view. Little or no luck is involved. Now what the buyer is doing is that they are looking to form preference formed in the buying stage. Having formed preference, the buyer then is in a position to basically engage and achieve value from the proposal that's been put on the table. And likewise, from a seller's perspective, we're looking to actually contract with the buyer, deliver and fulfil their promise. In both instances, having moved through the various stages, we're then looking to actually re-engage the buyer to look at new requirements, new needs. Now let's sum up. Whether or not we decide to track the selling journey through the Heiman sales funnel, or indeed the customer's buying journey through Math Marketing's buying funnel, it's really a philosophical difference. We would argue that so much of the buying journey now is taking place almost absent our engagement. It makes sense to be even more focused on buyer progression. But whether or not you buy that or not, what is most critical is that you put measurement systems in place, either the buying process or the selling process. Measure how long on average it's taking you for your buyers to move through each stage of the funnel. Have a look at what your success rates are at each stage of the funnel. Dimension how many sales engagements, how many meetings that are taking place at each stage of the funnel. And then ultimately align your marketing and selling tactics stage by stage if you want to improve the velocity of your sales funnel end to end. The most critical thing is that you measure and you track everything that you do. Good luck and good selling.